Hi, my name is Keith Cooper, and in this short video I'm going to look at printing panoramic black and white print on Epson P700. Now the P700 supports roll paper, and I've looked at that in the past and also other aspects of printing. So if you're curious in making large size or unusual size prints, have a look at some of the other videos as well, and also the written review, because that sort of ties everything together, covers all the stuff. I'm going to be using a glossy paper here, and the actual paper is one from a local supplier, Paper Spectrum. It's a cut panoramic size. It's 594 millimeters by 210 millimeters. Why the arbitrary size? Well, it's double A4. So if you take two A4 sheets, put them together, that gives you that size of paper. It's also half an A2 sheet. So if you can't get this and you want to try this, if you've got some A2 paper, cut it accurately down the middle, and you've got two long thin sheets that half of an A2 sheet. So it's A4, A4 that way. So I'm going to print an image that I've got is quite a wide image. Now this image is not quite wide enough aspect ratio to fit nicely on this paper. So I can either look for another image or I could crop this one. And I'm actually going to see what happens when I print this at a different aspect ratio just to fit on this paper. It's the Humber Bridge. It's the image I used in a video I did recently about black and white photography. And I'm just going to print it. Now I'm using, this is in Photoshop. I could print from Photoshop. But I'm going to print using the Epson Print Layout. It's easy to use, it's free. It also means that what you see here will be applicable for people using Windows PCs as well. I've not used PC for years, we're Mac based here, so I try and make it a little bit more open so people who are using PCs can follow along as well. The differences are quite minimal in this respect. But anyway, I've just opened this up. Here's the image I've opened up, and it's quite small. I need to scale it and things. Now, in work I've done with this particular printer, and applies to the P900 as well, I've realized that you don't need to set your images to a particular arbitrary pixels per inch number. So as long as there is enough resolution, there's nothing to be lost by sending a bit more. And this is actually quite a large image, so it will print at quite a high resolution. It's meant for making a bigger print than this. So it's being shrunk down a bit to fit here. Now, what about paper size? Well, I've loaded the paper in here, and I've set a custom paper size on here. I've set it to Epson Premium Glossy, because that's effectively what the paper is. It isn't, but you know, for black and white printing it makes no difference. I'm using the ABW mode, so there's no need for profiles or anything like that. I've set the paper size on here, and it says user defined. Now, there is a setting here that you can use. The app can override the settings here. I preferred a bit of a belt and braces approach of setting a paper size here. There's a simple number. You just set it here. Set the size 210 by 594. It's set. There's the paper. I can override it if need be from here. But anyway, I've created a paper size, a custom paper size, and it's called double A4. And there's a simple way of setting up custom paper sizes. They'll be remembered for if you want to use them again. I've set it to high quality. Now I know from my testing that it's simply not worth using the higher quality settings for this sort of paper here. Gains you nothing. Best results tend to come around the medium settings. And all the other settings here, I'm using the advanced black and white mode. So as long as I've set the paper type to Epson Premium Glossy, it should just print normally. Now I'm going to just click on scale to fit. I could actually modify it and chop it and do various things, but let's have a look at scale to fit. It's going to come out like that. It's lost a bit of the beach, but actually when I look at that I think, well, I quite like that composition. That looks quite reasonable. Remember, the picture itself is a panoramic sequence. I've taken lots of pictures, stitched them together to make this picture. So it is an arbitrary crop in of itself from the original. So I can crop it again if I feel like it. But here we go, everything's set up there. All I need now is just set to print, and we should be able to just send this to the printer and it should print. Now, because it's a big image, it'll take a little while to do it, because it's actually sending some 700 odd pixels per inch resolution to the printer, which is quite a lot. But my experiments that I did recently with the P700 suggest that I'll lose nothing and maybe gain a tiny little bit in detail. Although there's always the point, who actually looks at prints that close? With strong glasses or whatever to see detail in it. Nobody who ever puts a print on a wall looks at it like that. Well, the printer's starting up, it's receiving data. Ink cartridges are low, print job may not print completely. This is the first time I've had this warning, so I'll comfortably ignore it. Epson recommends I replace the cartridge. Yes, indeed, but we're going to continue printing and we're going to see what happens. Now, I've got several sheets of this, so I'm not too concerned about this. This is the first time we've had this warning appear, and I know the ink were low. I've got some spare inks, but you usually get this appear 1 or 2 times and you can get a few more prints out first. Tells me it's going to take 7 minutes to print. So we'll come back when a bit more is printed. Well, here comes the print, and it looks fine. Now, I've quite deliberately chosen to use the ABW mode here because the ABW mode for most papers gives by far and away the best black and white results. This is bang on neutral, not quite sure, maybe a slight colour tint you're seeing in the video, but from looking at it here, this screen is black and white. This print has no colour casts whatsoever, which is, to me, is an important thing in printing. It's one of the reasons why I will always choose pigment ink printers for printing my black and white works. It just is proper black and white. Dye-based inks can give good black and white, but they just take a bit more work, and sometimes you can lighting can affect things. You need a lot more experimenting with papers, whereas I've just taken this, I've used this paper. This is the Pinnacle from Paper Spectrum, the Pinnacle paper. It is not premium gloss, it's something similar. I've created a custom paper size and one black and white panoramic print. It looks really good. It's a really nice tonality. The shadows are not crunched up or anything like that. So there you go. If you want to experiment with making some panoramic prints, I've got other stuff covering this, but that's just how simple it is to make a big print. Of course, you have to go, in this case, visit the Humber Bridge, some distance from here to take the photo in the first place, but pictures don't have to be standard rectangles, so I hope that's useful. I've got lots more stuff about this. Please do subscribe to the channel if you find it helpful. If you've got questions, ask them in the comments under the video. Happy to answer that, particularly since questions I get asked sometimes gives me ideas for further videos, things I might not have thought of covering. So there you go, and thank you very much.